Okay. Well, Kaya. So we are here today to talk about long-term goals. Let's stop this for a second. This was way too intense to get into this. Like,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
We're
Kaya.
We're in the frame.
Sure. So, hello, Kaya.
Hello, Noah.
We gathered here on my bed today with some nice oranges and ourselves and very little preparation to talk about long-term goals. So maybe we can start by introducing ourselves a little bit. So my name is Noah.
My name is Kaya.
And we both go to a university called Minerva University, which is an international university. So we are from different countries.
Whenever you look to the side, you just look so sad. We go to an international university.
I am sad about it. I am. So we are from different places and we study with people from different places and we move around the world. Currently we are in Seoul, South Korea. And I think this is our second year. And I think both of us kind of had thoughts about things that we would like to make true in the far future, or rather not during school or a few years after school. So I thought it might be interesting to talk about it and to hear how are we dealing with it, what made it be that way. So maybe I have a question that we can start with.
Okay.
So I guess I was wondering if when you were younger, in elementary school or high school or before university, if you had dreams that felt like long-term goals, that you were this is going to be what I'm gonna do. There is no doubt about it.
I should answer this question?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I had dreams, but they were never really, long-term in the sense that they stuck around for a very long time. So, I had a period in my life where I had very clearly set out that on Monday, Tuesday, I was going to be a writer. Then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was going to be a primary school teacher. And then on the weekends, I was going to be a pop singer. And...
in this combination, in that order,
in
every
order,
week
every
of your
week.
life.
Yes.
Amazing.
That's what it was going to be. And I was quite passionate about it because I, in school, whenever we had, the opportunity to write not opportunity, just an assignment to write something, and it would be 2 pages of a very, very, very small notebook with very, very triple spaced space. People would write 2-page stories, and I'd be like, how do you guys fit it all in there? I have so many ideas. So I always, with pride, was the girl who wrote 14-page stories, and I'd go home to my mom and be like, look, I even made a picture for every single page.
How old were you when that happened?
10, 11. Yeah. And so I did that, I think, 3 times, and I identified myself as a writer, and then never did it again. For some, I don't know why.
But did the idea stick?
No, usually they kind of fade. So I do something for a short period of time. I get super passionate about it. I'm like, this is me. I'm now a writer. And then maybe even the second I put that stamp on me, it vanishes. Like, it just kind of like...
Yeah.
Maybe it's like I feel achieved, and so now it's done, the chapter's over. What's next? But then I never really fully get to develop myself, if that makes sense. So I was not a writer because I went up to the point that I could, and I never took it from there further because that would be too difficult.
As an 8-year-old.
Yeah, or as an 8-year-old without that skill set.
Yeah.
Because I bet there's 8-year-olds that can write better than I can at this point, you know? Do you know what I mean?
When you were 8-year-old. Not you, CAYA, 21-year-old. 8-year-old can write
Okay, maybe not
you.
grammar-wise, but I bet there's 8-year-olds out there that have some really cool ideas about what to write.
Maybe. Perhaps.
Just saying.
Love to meet them, yes.
Or like crazy ideas about what stories you could write. No?
Maybe. I feel like my stories when I also was a writer when I was 8-year-old. And I would wake up at like 6 a.m. to write before school. That also happened twice or 3 times. But I was praised for it for the rest of my life, basically.
Yeah.
Which just like really added to that fake sense of being the chosen one. Which I think is quite interesting. But yeah, like I really resonate with that. Like I went to every after school activity there is under the sun. Like every single one. Like I went to tennis and like to baking class and to judo and dance and like everything. And at the end I landed on theater and I like it stuck, which was quite nice. But when I was in the 12th grade, when I was 12, in the 7th grade, not American, sorry, we had this like paper that we had to write about our lives, like our future, what we will be when we will like grow up. And I wrote this story about how I will start off as a theater, like a Broadway actress with the stage name Flame. My hair would look like a flame. And I would just like be there and like will conquer. And then like a few years later when I'll have like a family, I will move to Brazil, to the Amazonas forests, and live in a treehouse and be a scientist and save the world by inventing a grain that has all of the nutrients and is really easy to grow.
Wow, how old are you?
12.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never got to that stage. I also wanted to be a scientist. Something in a lab. That was...
Beautiful.
Wow, that's so specific. That's so admirable.
Yeah. I think I had big imagination, but also I always had that like conflict between wanting to save the world and feeling like I need to, and liking theater, which is not saving the world.
Or could it?
Could it? But yeah, I think that's kind of like what I sensed in my life until now. Like until before I rediscovered my purpose, which I don't know if I told you about.
Rediscovering your purpose?
Yeah.
Over the summer or in general?
Like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Did I?
But maybe you want to explain to the people.
No, I will. But did I? No. I don't think so.
Okay, then no.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, do I not remember?
I don't think so because actually, side note, I made an incentive program for myself because I know that I really get energy or like satisfaction from telling people what I'm going to do, which makes me feel satisfied, so I not end up doing the thing that I told them that I'm going to do. And there are countless examples. So I made myself an incentive program that I will tell a new person after like doing a few steps in the direction of my goal. So you can be my new person because I actually have a spare one. Like I did a few steps and didn't tell anyone yet. So you can be my person. But not right now. That is beside the point. What I was going to say is that I noticed this pattern in myself, and I'm curious to hear how it evolved in your life. Like when thinking about dreams or like goals or what I want to be, that I think like when I was younger, I had this really wide range of like both skills and desires. I was like, yes, I want to do everything and like and then like slowly it like no, so here, and then slowly it like minimized. Like in high school I was like, you know what, physics is pretty hard, so it might be cool, but like I'd rather do theater. Or maybe a bit after high school, and then like I got more into social justice, and I was like, no, actually, like I need to do this. Like theater, in my perspective, is not enough. Doesn't have a large enough range of influence. And then I was like, okay, but which social justice? And then I was like, environment and that and that. And then I learned about the occupation in Israel, and I was like, no, this is my responsibility. I should do that. And then like I will be activist, but it's not good enough. So I will be international relations, but that's not actually effective. So then I was kind of left with like, it's not like I didn't have the ideas to go to. It's just that I eliminated all of them one by one. And then I just didn't, like I was like, well, I just will not have purpose ever. So I wonder if you had like a similar pattern, or do you feel like, how was that for you? Like the hashtag development in yeah.
So your question wasn't clear at all to me at the beginning. That's not to attack your question, that's just for the context. And then when you told me your story, I was like, damn, that's relatable.
Yeah?
Because I used to have the same exact thing. Like, I was like, oh my god, we need to tackle, like, what the fuck is child labor? Why do we have this? Like, come on, let's make a school that at the same time allows people to earn enough money to feed themselves. But then, it's like this crazy idea, and then I'd tell people about it, and they'd be like, amazing idea. And then it'd be like, oh, thanks. And then it would just sit there like I was a fucking 10-year-old. How am I supposed to make a fucking school? So that never got off the ground. And just so many other examples of that where I was like, wow, this needs help. Let me just think of something. And then there would also, I think a part of this was that there was just nobody in my environment to guide me in that. Like, it would have been so nice to be guided in a certain direction for me to actually be able to make a difference at the age and skill level and like comprehension of what the fuck the world is level at that time. But I just didn't. So I was always like the kid who was convinced that they were gonna save the world. And then I get to my UWC applications. UWC is like an international school that you can get scholarships for to go to the international schools. And so I'm applying because I'm like, wow, I'm a perfect fit for this. Like, their mission is to save the world, or like to create world peace by connecting people from different nationalities, cultures, yada, yada, yada. And so I go there, I'm like, wow, this represents me perfectly. And I get to the interview and they're like, so what do you do on a daily basis? And I'm like, I bike to school. I sit at school for 7 to 8 hours. I bike home. I sit on the couch for about 2 to 3 hours. I snack on certain things. I switch between sweet and salty until it's 6 p.m. and I have dinner. And I'm actually already too full for my after-school snackies, but my mom tells me to eat my food either way. Then I go to handball practice and I come back and I sit on the couch for another hot second. I have some sandwiches because I'm hungry by this time. And then I go to bed. I scroll on social media for a hot second and then that's it. That's my day. And so I walk through my entire week and I'm like, I literally don't do anything. Like, I might have all these aspirations, but what the fuck am I doing with myself?
No, come on. Special skills in the resume, sitting on couch. That is admirable.
Balancing sweet and salty. That was my area of expertise. I did also entertain my sister a lot, I feel like, but she also entertained me, so it was like an exchange. And so I get into this, like, not crisis, but I was like so discontent with myself. I was like, wow, really? You dare call yourself someone who wants world peace and make a change in the world, and you don't do anything. And then the year after that, I was gonna try to apply again. But this time, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have something that I can present to them. And so, almost deadline rolls around, and I still have nothing on my plate. It's been 7-8 months now. I had plenty of time. I went to the food bank twice to volunteer. So I've got on my resume now. And then Greta Thunberg gets on the news. And then some other kids in Belgium get on the news with their climate strikes. And then someone from my school's like, I think we should do this. And I'm like, I'm on board. So, with my limited knowledge of the 5 nature documentaries I've watched in the past year, I now become basically like the climate expert of this group of people because I'm so passionate about it. But do I really have that much expertise? Anyways, we organize these climate strikes, and it's like really impressive on my UWC applications, and it was really nice and it was super cool. And so I get all this confidence from like, wow, I'm really making a change. Like, I'm on TV.
Were you on TV?
I was on TV.
Oh, can I see little CAYA on TV? I would love that.
Yes. Can you insert some pictures? And so I really felt like I was changing stuff, and I was like making an impact. And then, like a half year later, I actually go to UWC to Tanzania. That's where I live. I live on a campus, and I realized that wasn't really all that influential. Like, did we really make a change? Like, we talked to some politicians, but did they really make train tickets cheaper than plane tickets to go to Paris or Brussels or Berlin? No. So that kind of just died out my passion for climate action, because I was like, well, what's the point? It kind of burnt me out in a way, that even though I wasn't really doing anything, I was just kind of discouraged by it. That was a long story. Where are we at and where are we going?
I guess, like, what I asked about was how dreams, or like having dreams, evolved throughout growing up. And I guess you did like touched upon like how, especially in social like justice and activism, how like despairing it can get so fast, because like you do something and you feel really influential because it's really hard to do very small stuff. But then what is the actual impact? And I think from like my perspective, we see a lot of movements and like NGOs when it comes to like policy changing, that don't have actually that much of an impact, which is then like very hard, because especially when you talk about guidance, like, I don't want your guidance, like, this is not working, what can I say? So yeah, so I guess, like, maybe how do you build up from that?
Yeah. So, right, so we were in the, like, I completely lose courage and I kind of lose interest in basically anything. Like, where I used to be going for universities and being like, wow, there's so many things I can study, I have no idea what to pick, to being like, that doesn't really sound very interesting. That doesn't really sound very interesting either. Like, basically not being able to pick because it just didn't seem like it would hit the spot.
Yeah.
And so I took my gap year, and then I found Minerva, so I had liberal arts and sciences, basically anything. Like, I didn't have to pick. I could just do whatever I liked, whatever I felt in that moment to be suitable. And I think I really enjoyed that, and I feel like I'm starting to gain interest and courage back. Like, I feel like there's, like, places where I'm like, wow, I think I'd be passionate to invest my time and effort into making a difference here. And I do feel like we're learning sometimes frameworks of how to think about certain things. Like, it becomes more systematic in a way that gives me more confidence that there is a way to maybe come to understand. But then also there's this aspect of never really knowing, because you can't be certain that things are the way you think they are. So there's this clash of, like, do you really need to know everything in detail, and but you do want to know what you don't know, so you feel confident in not knowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. I think it's basically saying we can never know everything, especially how the future would look like, or what is capabilities of doing things that have not been done yet. But we really want to know, so we will be able to do those things.
Those things like
making activism actually work. Things that have not, like, been done yet, that are inventive, that are... Oh, what happened? Okay, thank you. That was...
Also, does Mary need some context here or no?
I've been briefed by Faith.
Okay.
I'm just gonna change because I don't like wearing my sweaty leggings.
I think that's a very cute skirt.
Thank you.
I agree.
How did this come to be? I'm so confused.
Should we do a little brief on how we started a podcast?
Recording?
Yes.
Yes.
So the way that we started this podcast was basically me and CAYA have an assignment together that we met on. Yes, this is how it started. That we met online with two other people, and me and CAYA were sitting, like, on the same laptop with, like, a funny background, and then these two people were, like, laughing at us because it looks like we were in a podcast. So we were like, we should make a podcast.
It's so funny. We were like little elves in, like, a little elf forest house.
And this is why this is happening, like, literally very arbitrary, like life.
Yeah, here for it.
So here for it. Yes, please do talk.
I'm
You're
very
allowed.
here for it. I'll be your number one listener.
Thank you so
Wow.
much. Okay, back to...
Is this my face or is this... I can't tell.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked a lot about... We kind of diverged to talking about social justice and activism as a part of, like, aspirations and dreams and goals and, like, long-term goals, and how that affected building them or, like, sticking to them. I think it is much easier to say, I want to be a software engineer, and then there is a much, like, more set way to do that. Like, you have, like, I need to learn programming, number one. and then like you need to go to university for that, and you need to get specific internships for that, and like go like there's a set way to do that, as well as doctors, actors. A lot of things do have this set way, and a lot of things don't. And then I guess I do think that putting into that very messy thing social justice and like changing society, which is, you know, a question that millions of people are trying to think of how to do it, is very challenging. But maybe we can focus a bit back into like our own current goals that we have. I have an idea of what yours is.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of what yours is?
Let me just... I think the reason this is funny to me is because I don't think I do.
Do you want me to tell you what I thought it was?
Okay. Well, do you have it ready in your mind?
I do.
Okay. Can I then say what my past 2 weeks self has been?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not long-term goals, because my long-term goal is probably something along the lines of floating around and like not being set. Like when I was young, I had this one thing that I was like, there's no way I'm gonna grow up and be like this, is to just do one thing and like be stuck in that and do it just because it provides me security. And even though I think I'm starting to see that security for a lot of people is just a value that they really like to have, and it makes a lot of sense, it's just one that just gives me the aches. And I like sometimes I do feel like I fall for comfort, and I want to keep myself from that for as long as possible. I'm also trying to learn to be at peace with that sometimes comfort is what a human needs. So I'm trying to be compassionate with myself there. But yeah, I do think a long-term goal of mine is to just stay on my tippy toes.
So like travel a lot and like...
maybe not necessarily travel. Like in my head it also would make sense to be stationary, but to sort of always have a way to reframe how I think, like to always push myself in how I see myself and my place in the world, I guess, and not get stuck on one interpretation of that.
Wow. So in a sense, your goal is to not have a goal and strive
maybe
towards it. Well, that makes it quite easier, no?
I guess.
Because then you're always succeeding.
Well, it's such a nice way to frame it. Yeah, I guess. Well, unless I am starting to pursue a goal too much and I get too stuck on one thing. Anyways, now I'm curious what you think it was, because it's probably still valid.
But you also started saying, but in the past 2 weeks something.
Yeah, that was kind of, yeah, so right now I'm thinking that after graduation I'll just build myself a cabin on a hill and sit there in either solitude or loneliness and see what that does to me. But I don't know, maybe I
For
won't
how
do
long?
it. I don't know, for however long is just uncomfortable enough.
That
But
sounds
was
pretty
just
dope.
an idea.
But you can do it before graduation if you really feel like it.
Yeah, but I think that would be the nice time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. But maybe not. I mean, we'll see. Anyways, what did you think it was going to be?
I thought, well, I didn't think that you would know what it would be. That's why I asked.
Yes.
But what I thought it would be is to write and produce a TV show, which is something that we talked about last year. And I just want to watch good TV, so I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, can I just say on that note that I do think the saddest or maybe most dangerous thing about the way that I'm thinking is ideal to go about life is that when things get hard, it's easy to dip and be like, it's just because it's time to move on. And maybe I won't ever do the things that I am currently passionate about just because I won't ever allow myself the time or like the space for non-perfection to try it out and see what it's like and see if I can make something. Like I don't really have that sort of mechanism to keep me going until something's done or finished.
Yeah. I get that. And I also want to say, like, I don't know, I feel like we change and our mindsets also change. So it is possible, perhaps, that at some point that wouldn't be how you live life anymore. And that, like, you would want that. And it's super valid to have this now. What I mean is that we don't necessarily need to worry about the now being with us for the rest of our lives and make our decisions on the now based on how it would look for the rest of our lives, because it will probably change because people change always. So yeah, just I think if you would feel very passionate and dedicated to something, I'm sure you can make it because you're smart.
Yeah, but then passion is a... If I could give myself a stage name, it would probably be Spark, not Flame.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does, definitely. And I guess also, like, it's kind of wild to talk about it because this is like, it's not even our thoughts, but it's the structure of our thoughts that guide us. Like, what you're saying, that, like, you have sparks and they go away. And for me, that's not how I live life. I think it's definitely a symptom of how I live life, but it's not necessarily my pattern or like my system of thoughts. So it's also kind of like, how do we even speak about it, right? Because we don't know what the other person is experiencing, but also the person that is experiencing doesn't know how it will look like in the future. But yeah, anyways, I think we got a bit sidetracked there.
What about you? Do you have long-term goals? Long-term goals.
I do. I do. So, basically, so I think you know the first half of the story, but I will tell it for context. In the beginning of last year, at Minerva, I came to Minerva, like, okay, so the way that I work is that I have a purpose. I always had a purpose. And then everything that I did was me walking step by step towards that purpose. So it used to be very general, like I described earlier, like saving the world or like stopping world hunger, and I would step by step get there, or like try to get there. And at that point, when we started Minerva, where I was on that journey was going to a international university in order to become an international advocator for Israel-Palestine. Thinking very naively that, like, people just don't know. I'll just tell them, and then they'll know, and then they'll change how they act. And it was, I think, November or December that there were elections in Israel, and Netanyahu and Ben Gvir won, which are very right-wing extremists, criminal people. They won the elections in Israel, and yeah, like the US did not do anything. And I was like, this view of mine was like shattered. Like, you cannot deny anymore what's going on in Israel when these people are in power. And I was like slowly realizing that perhaps the reason that the US supports Israel is actually economical reasons, that it always been like in the back of my mind, but I never let it to the front of my mind because I was like, no, but then like my mission doesn't apply. So like, but then like I had no option but to look at it. So yes, and then I got quite depressed for a while, and I really felt like I lost my purpose. Like I was purposeless. And it was really hard because I didn't really know how to function without a purpose. I think like even the smallest things would be like really hard for me to decide upon or like to do because of that. And at some point I realized that my purpose will come to me. It might not come right now. It might not be here right now, but it will come at some point. And until then, I should be alive, probably. Like, it would be better and like functioning and like healthy and possibly happy. So that's kind of like how I continued. But there was always this sense of emptiness in that specific sense, because like when things were happy, like they were happy, I don't think they were as happy as they were when I had a purpose, because that was like something that is like an actualization of something that I really strongly believe in. It's just so much more intense for me than, you know, going clubbing and like getting drunk. Like that's like, it's nice, but it's not like you know, fulfilling.
This is a great example.
Thank you.
It's nice, but just
Yeah.
not fulfilling.
So then I did that and I did that and I did that, and then there like in the summer I had this really nice internship in the American Congress, and I interned with Bernie Sanders, and I gave a bunch of speeches and felt like I, not necessarily I have purpose, but I have like passion. I'm doing something that I should be doing. I feel very like people believe in me, and people like told me you should run for office and everything like that. And I was like, damn, I feel so confident. Let's keep this. And then I stopped the program, and it obviously went down drastically because I was not near people that kept like affirming me. But long story short, yeah, I just kind of continued like that. And with the war now in Israel, I was very much like, it was emphasized to me that maybe I am not in the position right now or the right person to be a leader. I'm too sensitive to criticism. If one person doesn't like, not like trashes me, but like doesn't like what I do, I get like super like, oh my god, okay, I will be silent forever now. And I don't like competition, and like I like connecting with people face to face and like heart to heart. I don't think that my, like, also speaking complexity, I don't think it's very effective when you just send like a message to the space. And it was a big insecurity for me for a long while, that I kind of kept quiet. I also didn't talk about it with many people because like I had like all these expectations of me, and I was like, but no, I don't feel like I'm capable. But I was like, maybe it's imposter syndrome, maybe it's something like that. And I was talking to my friend, my best friend, a couple of nights ago, and I was sharing this feeling, this sentiment, and she told me that that is kind of like the trick about being a person with a purpose. That there are ups and downs, and there are times that we will be very convinced of what our purpose is, and there will be times that we would question it and like not know what it is, and it's a journey into understanding what it is. but that is inherent to the fact that I do have a purpose and I will find it, you know. And she said, I said, yeah, but I don't know what it is. And she said, well, I also don't know what it is. And I reminded her that she does know what it is, like I did right now. No, but we were talking like a year ago, and she said that she feels like her purpose is to be a woman. That I can elaborate about maybe another time. And I reminded her of that, and she was like, huh. And then I realized what my purpose is.
Oh wow, this is a long build-up. Wait.
Yeah, wow, this is a really long build-up. I'm so sorry.
Quick recap. So I asked
Yeah.
you what your long term goal was, and so you matched it together with what your purpose is, because that's how you roll ever since you were a little kid. Just a quick question about that. When you were little, did you like write it down and you were like, that was like part of your identity? And
It was definitely part of my identity.
but you didn't write it down. So how'd you know? Did you think about it at night? Did you go, what is my purpose? Or
No, I just acted on it. Always.
so you didn't like make it concrete? Was it like a guiding?
No, I just knew, like, I didn't know, like, necessarily, oh, I will be a brain scientist, but I was like, my purpose is to help other people and to make the world a just place. So I volunteered and I did that and I did that. It was mostly through action. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long term goal / purpose.
Political mediator. So basically, you know how politicians get together and maybe talk about their countries and potential agreements? I want to mediate that process because I think that it's like often it's not done the most effectively because of like personal reasons of leadership, especially now in the world. Either it's alternative motives or maybe emotion interferes or like egos and stuff like that. And I believe that through nonviolent communication and like emphasizing like emotional awareness to be impartial, these processes can be smoother and more effective. And the reason that this also came to my mind is because I don't want to be a leader, but I do want to be in the decision-making table chair. I do want...
Carpet.
Yes. Either one. We accept all cultures, and so to be on the decision-making table. So I thought, yeah, I could be there doing that because I'm good in communication. I'm good at making ideas accessible to other people.
Cool.
I just realized that like my incentive was to tell one person, and if we upload this,
Oopsies.
oh no.
Wait, so yeah. Oh wow. Okay, yes. So many things. I kind of want to go into defining a purpose, and I think also sort of inherently accepting that it's probably gonna change. And then 2 was now I kind of forgot. Oh right, your structure, if you want to talk about it, or if the structure itself is a project that you can only release little snippets of as as you work on the structure. But I hope that it's an accessible resource for all. Yeah, those things. The third one I forgot.
Okay.
But you can pick which one.
Okay, I guess we can go for the first one just for a second.
Okay.
In terms of purpose, I think it's hard to explain because it's like been a part of me for so long that it's kind of like obvious to me. Also in Hebrew, I think it's like it has a different thing. Like shlichut is kind of like divine purpose, kind of like what I was put in this on this planet to do. So I think that regardless of the fact that it might change, which hopefully it won't, this does feel like it fits a lot better than things have before. So I do feel like a difference. And also I'm older. I'm like more into the phase of my life that I can actually start building it up, rather than when you're 10-year-old, like it's probably not gonna stick because it has to stick for like 20 years, not 4 years. But I think regardless of all of that, like I just accept that psychologically having a purpose really helps me. It really, really helps me. It helps me do everything. Like, for example, I need to pay tuition for next year, right? So I need an internship that makes a lot of money. I found it really hard to like look for positions that make a lot of money. But now that I have a purpose, I feel like it is justified and it is just, and I should do it because this is my way to get to where I really believe I need to get. So I think in that sense, it really, really helps me. And even in the sense of like living life healthy, like being like, I think a lot more now about how to make it sustainable because it's long term. Like, I worked today and I had some time that I could continue to work, but I knew that like it's not sustainable to push and then so like it's better to rest now and like to take it easy and like to know that there are days that I will rest and I will not do anything, and days that, and maybe even weeks, and that's fine, but it does not mean that I will not continue. I had a meeting with Megan, the coach of our school, and she sent me this picture after, because we're like talking about consistency and how I really want to be consistent. Like that's my goal because I'm not a very consistent person. And she sent me this picture that it was like a bunch of like water jugs in a row and like a few rows of it, and then like in the first row it says like this is consistency and all of the water jugs are full, and then the second row like they're all like almost full and it's like this is also consistency, and then like one that they're like completely different levels of food, this is also consistency, and then like one full empty. Like consistency can be a lot of things as long as you continue. It doesn't have to be giving your 100% every day, and I think that's actually super important because you cannot. Like it's better to be consistent, in my opinion, like to be consistent in a more inconsistent way for a long term than like burning out really fast.
True.
What do you think about consistency? Are you struggling with consistency?
Yes, but I don't think it's necessarily the consistency that I'm struggling with. Like I don't think I really even get to the point where consistency is necessary. Like I very often just stop before that's even a thing because I chicken out. And maybe, I mean, as you were talking about this, I was thinking about how maybe for me what is currently driving me to do things and to like maybe not work hard but just like sort of to guide me in what I do, like what I pick for my assignments, to write on what, like how much effort I put into my internship, how, like why I'm doing stuff like this, is I think to overcome that barrier of I don't think I can do this. And I think maybe right now my purpose is to learn how to do that and to learn to embrace that I can literally do anything, and as long as I set my mind to it, and learning that to be able to do that, you need to have an idea of where you're going. Somewhat. Like, I sort of, like, I think I always sort of flamed myself or gaslighted myself for not having that sort of, I set my mind to this and I can do this and I stick to it, just because I never really, like, told myself to define where I was going. And so I can't really blame myself for never thinking of a route to get there, because I never really had a destination in that way. And so I was just, I guess I'll just, like, roam around here and see what I can scavenge, and then maybe I'll hop off of that in that direction. And it worked out so far, but it, like, I can't guarantee that it will for the rest of my life. And I think right now sort of gaining the skills of picking things I'm interested in, and then learning how to, sometimes with and other times without guidance. And I think we talked about this in the beginning, like how guidance is also so important in this, because often it's just really hard to know where to start.
Yeah.
Especially if it's something you're not super skilled at. Like learning how to play the ukulele over summer. Like, you need to know how to make a rhythm. You need to know how to tune it. Then that means not only touching the strings, but also, like, understanding what note those strings should be making, specifically for what song you're going to be playing, what song to pick that is, like, for your skill level. Like,
wow, Kaya, you make it sound so fucking complicated to play the ukulele.
It was! I swear. And I got expert support, and it still took me 3 months to learn how to play Riptide. But you know,
But
like,
you did it.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. So the question initially was,
I think we were talking about consistency.
right. Yeah, so I don't think I, until here, ever got to a point where I would have to be consistent to get somewhere, because I didn't really know where I was going. And now I think where I'm going is learning how to define this process for things that in the future I might want to roam into. Because if something I want to do is being able to roam into different areas whenever I want, then I need to be able to unlock those doors and know how to walk. That walk, baby. Yeah. Okay, that was it.
No, I like it, and I think that maybe one other note about consistency and about maybe how to, which is not something necessarily that I practice, but is a thought I had in my mind right now, how to encourage consistency in our lives is to practice small scale consistency, like brushing our teeth every morning and evening, or which we are both guilty of not always doing. Like
approximately 1.7 times a day, going strong.
Or like watering a plant, or like doing sports at certain interval, or like not even interval, but like a few times that you choose on a week or 2 weeks. And then I think we're learning now about elasticity of the brain, and like synaptic connection, and how the more you activate the same neurons together, the more likely they are to be activated together. So basically building habits. And like also being very like implicit about, I see the value in this. Like I explicit being very explicit about it.
Being super implicit about.
I don't even know what implicit is right now.
No, explicit, I think is what you were trying to say.
Yeah,
implicit
I'm sure.
Is like, and then explicit is like.
Yes, being very explicit, I guess, on that it's good, like to reinforce that we value it, we're capable of it, we enjoy doing it, we like, yeah. So I think maybe that would just like encourage the tendency to do it, and it could apply on other things. But it makes sense that like going straight for the big boy, if you don't have these, even the, you know, like the patterns of being consistent about anything in life, not just work, like it makes sense that it would be easier to build from small and then like to get to the larger scale. So
can I tell a story of a friend I have that did something like this?
Yes.
So we would go, there was a swimming pool on our campus, and we would go swimming sometimes, and then by the end of us having fun, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to take a shower, and she'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go underwater and swim the entire length of the pool. And so she did that. She like took a couple breaths and then swam all the way across the pool, and then she would do it every single time, like no failure. Even though she didn't really practice it that much, like she didn't practice breathing exercise or whatever, she would just do it. And then she'd come up after like 25 meters of swimming, completely out of breath, like completely destroyed. And I'd be like, why would you do this to yourself? And she was like, well, I'm teaching myself endurance, perseverance. And if I'm ever in a situation where I need to endure, persevere for days, weeks, months on end, I can think back to this tiny, perhaps insignificant, but I still did it moment and remind myself that I'm capable of doing these things. Like, it was a small thing, but like it's a way to sort of give yourself comfort that you are capable of doing those things.
Yeah. And not even comfort, like it what you said, like super also is relevant for meditation. Like that is what meditation is. Like you sit and you breathe and you just focus on the breath, but what you're actually practicing is attention. Like endurance if your leg hurts while you're sitting and you keep sitting. Like openness. You practice these things again and again, moment after moment in the meditation, and day after day if you practice regularly. And then like it's like the gym, you know, like when you go to the gym, you practice with your muscles, but you don't keep your muscle in the gym. You take them out to the world with you. That would be quite wild. And they help you carry.
Thanks.
And the muscles like help you carry the boxes of your life regardless. And I think that's super like valuable. And also it's not only thinking back, but it happens in your life. You have more endurance, you have more attention, and I really feel it like from practicing meditation. So all comes down to meditation. Yeah, always. I think maybe we can close with this. Maybe say like a few words.
No. You ain't leaving until you taught me that framework.
Okay.
Were you actually going to think I would not know it and forget about it? And you would just get away with not telling me?
No, I was just thinking we're almost at the hour.
Well, we'll cut some stuff.
Okay. Fine. Okay. So it's not like I have a very specific or like structured framework that someone told me to do. But it's more like I made a Notion page.
As one does.
And I think also like I kind of came to these acceptance of my patterns and try to work with them, not against them. So for example, like the incentive like program that I have for myself, that I take a few steps and only then I tell someone. And so far it's been 2 days and also been working pretty well, because I'm like, I have, not only do I have the incentive to work, I have the incentive to not tell people. So I could work and then tell people. And and another
It's
thing,
just a great way to like balance things out against each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think each person like has their own thing that they are prone to and that they feel like give them a lot of satisfaction, and you can like zone into that. And in terms of like how I choose what to do, like I have a to-do list that I write ideas in, but I basically separated it into 3 categories. So like short term goal, short term goal, goals, goals, and long term goal, which is like the mediation thing, and the term goal is summer internship because I need the money for education for long term goal. So, and short is school, and I try to balance my day in doing a little bit of each so that I feel they are alive in my life. I don't forget about them, because that's another thing that tends to happen to me. I forget about things. And then I'm like, well, I didn't do this for a week. Might as well not do it at all. Like, this is, the time is fast. Momentum is fast. So that's another thing. And I will say in the long term goal, I think it helps me to have like the other categories, because I cannot do that much for it right now. Like, it's also not like a position that I will get 5 years after college. Like, that's not the type of position that is. And I don't want to feel like I'm staggered. Staggered, is that a word? Stagnated, yes. In progress, because I don't have any other thing to do except for like talking to people that might be in that direction, and then they will tell me maybe what their former steps were, and I can maybe research that and do these type of things, or like learn things like nonviolence communication, or some book about like political mediation and like Northern Ireland or South Africa, or things that might be relevant. So I think it's good for me to not take a week and like do all of these, but rather like spread it out a lot, and allow things to also come to me slowly but surely. So the next steps on this category is Megan sent me some people that she thinks might be relevant to talk to, like have maybe similar positions. So I'm gonna contact them and speak to them and kind of ask these questions. And yeah, and like in terms of the internships, like I retouched my resume and I decided what I wanted, and I'm looking for it. And school, well, it's cool.
School's just schooling.
School is just schooling. And I think another thing that might help, but I don't know yet, stick along to find out, is to attach something to it. So my idea was to upload videos about my progress. So not only this us talking about it, but maybe also like if I'm learning nonviolence communication, then make videos about nonviolence communication, like make it something that is a bit more project based rather than learning based, because that's just something that I prefer. Learning through doing rather than learning for learning. That is what I got so far.
Cool.
Do you have any suggestions of how to make it better, or
I'm just a
would
bit
be
mind
better for you?
boggled by the fact that you. Wait, what was the last question?
or if something to like personal you would do to personalize it for yourself?
Oh, right. So I'm so mind boggled by that you picked 2 of your weaknesses and made them battle each other, and now it's like negative and negative make positive.
Which ones?
The like you want to tell people, but then wanting to tell people inhibits your ability to do stuff because you feel accomplished because you tell people what you're going to be doing and then you don't ever end up doing it. That's actually scientifically proven, I think.
Really?
Jonathan told us.
Oh, perfect.
Then what's the other thing that you do? That like what are the 2 things that?
Yeah, I mean, I said that I have the incentive to work because I want to tell people, and I have the incentive to not tell people because I want to work. Because like I want to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's no like
Okay.
it's a feedback loop.
That's it.
It's a reinforcing feedback loop.
Okay. Yes. And I like that it reinforces itself. Yes, exactly. That's the way it's supposed to go.
It's like psychologically hacking myself.
Yes. I was thinking of how I could apply this to myself, because I don't think I get as much excitement from telling people. I do think I have the same problem if I tell people. I'm like, okay, done. But I don't think I get as much excitement. Like, I don't think it would motivate me to be able to tell people what I'm doing.
Yeah.
To actually do it.
But maybe then your thing would be just do the thing. Just don't wait a minute. Just do the thing. Just start doing the thing. And
so
then
I can feel like I'm doing the thing.
So maybe, you would do like this. We didn't really tell anyone about this. We just started doing it. We didn't schedule it for next week. We scheduled it to like 2 days later, which made it happen.
Yeah.
So that might also be a thing. Like, just like, don't think about it. Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it.
Yeah. That's why I also love the thingies we have in our faces, because it just makes it funner. Don't think about it, just do it.
Yeah. I think that is another thing about how to motivate yourself, or like how to make it sustainable. We have to enjoy it. Yes, it has to be fun. Agree. If it's not fun, we will not want to do it, and we will not do it because we are not creatures that want to suffer.
Yeah. That's just how it is. Noah said it.
So we just need to enjoy things. Like when I was doing like activism with my friends, and we did like protests. We would make it a party. Like we would protest. We would bring speakers. We would do the sign thing, and then we would bring a DJ and we would dance together.
Yeah.
So I think like that's really important. I think it's a really good tool to zone into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So make it enjoyable, people. Enjoy the ride!
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Once you have a destination, enjoy the ride. And if you don't enjoy the ride, maybe the destination isn't worth it.
Maybe. Yeah, or maybe you can find a different ride.
Or a different route is also.
Yeah. Like, basically, there is no rules. Just be attentive to yourself and accept yourself for who you are, to the better and to the worse, to know how to work with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if you just deny that all these things are true, that you're super consistent, actually, then you will just never hack your psychology. And then, I mean, yeah. Well, to all our followers out there, leave in the comments what your psychology tackle is, and we will let you know how to hack it next time.
Oh my god. Can I
Alice will be the only commenter.
Okay, can I petition for an outro?
For what?
Okay, here it is. Followers, we love you.
Yeah.
Do we say followers or something else? Or do you not like the outro?
I didn't know what an outro was.
It's just like saying goodbye. I didn't know what an outro was.
I think we can do better.
Okay, like what? We can come up with one some other time and just stick with country.
Yeah.
Followers, we love you, unless you have an idea right now.
No, I think that's good. Should I also say it, or was that good enough? Okay.
Followers, we love you. Oh my god, I did not even have the filter on my face. It looks so ugly.
Oh my god, I don't look like myself at all.